We're trying to identify the buckets that resonate the most with our customers. And we're doing like some ethnography work right now outside of this to see which buckets are probably the most beneficial for us as a brand, as well as using influencers who already have the understanding of how to go viral on their own.
Yeah, I want to talk about what is the strategy right now, because I know I'm on your Instagram and your YouTube looking at all these different shorts content, and I see I feel like there's definitely some brainstorming of creativity of like different ideas, because they're all filmed kind of like in the house, right? There's this who's the person, the woman on the
So
videos?
her name's Sydney.
Yeah. So does City just come up with it, or do you guys all brainstorm? Here are some different ideas how we could display this in, in the short form content.
Good question. So a buddy of mine, his name's Isaac. He owns a brand called Mini Katana. They are absolutely slaying short form content in terms of promoting e-commerce. We're trying to work off that model a little bit, but what we're trying to do initially is identify buckets of content that our community likes. I'm sure I see Andrew nodding his head because that's a very Daryl Evesy type thing to say, but we're trying to identify the buckets that resonate the most with our customers. And we're doing like some ethnography work right now outside of this to see which buckets are probably the most beneficial for us as a brand. So she's testing a whole bunch of stuff. We're building like a bit of a feedback loop system to see which particular types of content perform the best. And then our intentions are to scale that both internally as well as using influencers who already have the understanding of how to go viral on their own. So like I say influencers, but I mean creators, but like it's one thing to go and get, there's like a billion creators on like Instagram and TikTok that, aren't actually fantastic at creating viral content. They just film stuff and they call themselves a UGC creator. I think where the real value is if you can find somebody that's kind of already in your vertical making content that's relevant to your audience and signing them to a deal to continuously produce content in particular buckets for your brand. The understanding that those people know how to make this type of content go viral and then basically essentially paying them for that content.
Do you guys do any kind of affiliate play right now?
Yeah, we do a bit of affiliate. It's we were doing it pretty hard for a little bit. Attribution gets difficult when somebody's like an Instagram influencer or whatever, because most of it you can't click. So then you end up relying on coupon codes, and then you get like coupon code aggregators taking their coupons, and it just screws up all of the data. We do some. It's not. I would say it's not our strongest channel.
So what's your guys' process for kind of coming up with these buckets, coming up with these different ideas? You guys get on a call together and just kind of brainstorm it? How do you plan this out?
I mean, we've only been doing it for probably 6 weeks.
What about all these other videos?
We've been doing it for a long time, but we just started doing it, like making it a priority maybe 6-8 weeks ago. And initially it was like, okay, let's figure out a handful of buckets. Let's start producing content. Ideally, we're going to probably get to a point where everything's aggregated into a spreadsheet where we can see what bucket it was, how many views it had, and then we could take the time to go look at it and look at the retention graphs to see exactly what things probably caused that initial spike. And the thing about YouTube, and I know Andrew will probably agree with me, I was experimenting with it with my son's videos 6 weeks ago. Sometimes I would upload a video and it would get zero. You look at it and sometimes it would get muted from the shorts feed and it would never get any action on the shorts feed. And then I would upload the exact same video an hour later. I'd change the title or whatever. All of a sudden it would get 10,000 views. There's this secondary thing that it's completely uncontrollable, where you're just at the mercy of the algorithm on that particular day and that particular time. Could hurt you, right?
Yeah.
As a whole, on a macro level, getting all of this data, putting it into a spreadsheet, breaking it down by views and buckets, and then doubling down on the things that have worked. Really, it's a feedback loop. It's data science. And a lot of people just I see most brands just post stuff on social media. It's mostly an echo chamber of them broadcasting how great their product is versus telling stories or entertaining or.
And what you just described there, you were split testing the title. If you uploaded the exact same video, you were split testing the title. I don't know the details, obviously, but for what Daryl Eves would say is he's data driven, but optimizes for human beings. And yes, there was obviously a slight change in time of day,
right?
But if everything else was equal and all you changed was the title, for whatever reason, that second title just resonated with the audience that much easier.
The only thing is that where I think the glitch is, especially when I notice it with volume, is typically when it gets this quote unquote glitch that I'm speaking of, is that you'll see zero shorts feed activity. If there's zero shorts feed activity, you never even got exposure to even give the title a chance.
Yep, that's fair.
I can't figure out why it happens. It's happened on a number of my accounts a few times. And I know deleting your content and putting it back up's not a good idea, but like it should have got at least like one. I don't know why that happens.
I don't know about this whole, if you delete your content and re-upload, I've done it before where I would upload something, get like 10 views, I delete it, put it back up, and I'll get like 100, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could actually take the exact same one you've already posted and republish it. I just did that recently and it still works. So if you had one from like 6 months ago that worked, just re-upload it now with a different title. Boom. If you have a little bit of editing, just change the music in the background or something, and change the file name, whatever.
Yeah, I would try to make an effort to change it at least somewhat, because if it's the exact same video, it's actually against the terms of service, and then you get a couple strikes, and then all of a sudden you're in big trouble.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I've been noticing big creators doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing. Like,
Yeah, it's against YouTube's terms of service.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. Yeah, I have like really big YouTubers that did that. And I was like, oh, interesting. There's re-uploading. I saw someone who has a YouTube channel about, this sort of strategies talking about it. And then all of a sudden I saw some big creators. I'm like, oh, they're doing the thing. They're just re-uploading the same thing twice.
Yeah, big YouTubers make mistakes all the time. Really quick, Ryan, just because of the time frame you just shared with us, I avoided YouTube Shorts like the plague off of the advice of my mentor, Daryl Eves. It was a proven fact for any data geek like me. When you get into the nitty gritty, you could see that the YouTube Shorts were cannibalizing views from the long format content. Some of the largest YouTubers on the planet were complaining about losing $20,000, $30,000 and more because they were uploading YouTube Shorts. This was a known fact in the YouTube expert consultancy space. I didn't go near YouTube Shorts with a 10-foot pole until YouTube solved that steaming pile of disaster. So just because you said it was so long ago, I suspect that they were still like ironing out the kinks. I'm not going to say that YouTube has solved all of their problems. I'm not saying that, but we are so far beyond, like I'm actually posting shorts on my clients' channels now, whereas before I wouldn't touch them with anything.